Yakida! Or good morning even. Welcome to Wales, and welcome specifically to Lynne. I think that's the name of this place. There's 4 of us here this weekend. Andrew, Andy, Dan, we're here. We came up last night, and I believe Mark, Mr. Driz, is joining us later on. Andy's going to start vlogging again, we think. We are camping down at Llanberis, and we rocked up about 9:45 last night, threw the tents up, had a bit of a gossip, and then went straight to bed. The guys have gone off to, I think it's pronounced Dinorwig Slate Mine, and I've come off on my own because the last couple of weeks I've had plans to go places and do photography, and the weather has let me down at the last minute. So I'm beginning to feel a little bit down, and I needed some reflections. I desperately needed some reflection. So I haven't done any vlogging this morning. I haven't done any walk-ins. I have just discovered that I've left both my flipping vlogging cameras at home. Luckily, I still had the phone with me. So we're going to be a bit short on walk-ins and walkouts and showing you around the area because the phone really does not like doing this sort of thing. I've come for a hike up. Originally, I was going to go to Lake Terrin, and it's such an easy place to get to. You park in the car park, which isn't the cheapest. It's about 10 quid for the day. And you walk 15 minutes up the hill, and it's a proper path. It's a miner's path. And Lake Terrin is on your left. It looked a little bit tricky to get down there, so I thought I would carry on, and I wanted to get up to here, which is, as I say, Lynne. I think that's the correct pronunciation. And it really was one of those, oh my God moments. The reflections are just phenomenal. And I think I've actually got an exposure cooking, which I've just forgotten about. So excuse me while I have a quick look. I think this might be a little bit on the blown out side. Yes, far too long. So we'll just try that. We've got some, not sure if you can maybe see this. We've got some beautiful clouds coming up across there. And I really want to catch them on a long exposure. So I've got the hat covering the eyepiece. Woo, where we gone? Bring you back. There you go. Let me just trigger that off again. So I decided, as I say, I needed some me time this morning. I needed to lift my spirits, and these reflections have done just that. It's been absolutely phenomenal. The water was flat calm. You can see now it's still calm, but there is more of a ripple on here now than there was when I came up this morning. Now there's a snow-covered peak in the background, and I want to say it's Snowdon, but I'm really not sure. I very much doubt it is, and I'm sure one of you lot will actually tell me which one it is. I'm useless with these mountains. I know there's a mountain around here somewhere called Trifan, but I don't know if it's that. And it's been awesome. There has been absolutely nobody around this morning. I got here, I arrived up at this bit at 5:25. Sunrise was 5:50. So that was plenty of time for me. I walked up in relative light. We got a little bit of colour, but what I'd hoped for is colour over here, but there were just no clouds over there. What I got, spin you around, was a little bit of colour over here. But I really don't care. I've got the reflection shots, and I've been overdosing on them this morning, and I've run some of the images through at the start of this. I left the camera bag and my phone and everything just to the side of the lake. I say there hasn't really been anybody around until the last half an hour, when the walkers have started coming out. I'm going to climb up a mountain somewhere, I'm guessing. Oh, here we go. Excuse me, puffing and panting. Oh, but this has really lifted my spirits this morning. I so needed this. The wind is, or the breeze is just beginning to pick up. You can just see the ripples on the water, or at least I'm hoping you can. Just over here, it's just beginning to ripple. There's a little building here, and that made quite a nice shot this morning. I managed to get close enough in to just include that bit, again with the mountain and the water in darkness, and the light on that. Oh. I just can't describe how awesome this place is. As I say, I'm really hoping that this camera, excuse me being out of breath, I have been running around like an idiot. The phone is just not doing it, and he just says, oops, a daisy. Try and give you a slow spin round. Oh. And it's a really nice feeling to know that you can just abandon your gear, wander off, and go back half an hour later, and it's still there. It's certainly not something I do in my hometown. Let's have a quick nosy around here. Oh, what a lovely sight. I say the breeze is just beginning to pick up, but I really don't care. I have had a phenomenal morning. So, the nuts and the bolts of it were F13, anywhere from about 1/5 of a second. I think I did 1/5 of a second, 1/10 of a second. I'm now doing a couple of long exposures. I haven't needed to do long exposures this morning because the water was so still and there were no clouds. There are compositions everywhere. Never been here before, so I really wasn't sure what I was going to find. I'd looked on Google Maps, but wherever you look, there is a composition. And I've just been running. I really wish I'd managed to do a time lapse. I've been running around like a complete lunatic. Oh God, there's a photo here. There's a photo there. I've now banged the 10 stop on to, as I say, get the clouds in at the top. I've been using the 10 to 20 mil for the majority of the shots around this area. I started off with a 17 to 55 on, but it just wasn't quite wide enough for what I was wanting. So let's go see how this image is doing. And 200 and odd seconds was just a little bit too long. That's better. That's much more like it. And that was 152 seconds at f13, ISO 100 obviously. And that's shooting at 10 mil on the 10 to 20. And I'd love to show you, but you know how crap this phone is at looking at the back of the camera. And it's the most basic of compositions. It's literally just shooting straight out across here. I've got the snow-capped peak at the top, and I've got these gorgeous reflections. There's several parts to Lynne Lydor. There's this huge area here. You can see this jutting out rock area. Over the other side there is another lake, or it leads through, and then just round here, you may not be able to make it out because of the lighting. There's a bit of a causeway to take you around the other side, but there's another lake, the second part of Lynne Lydor over there. So as I say, it's compositions everywhere. I set off this morning, it was 2 degrees. And it feels now like it's at least 8 or 9 degrees. It's beautifully warm. So the thermals really aren't needed. But having had, I don't know, 2.5 hours kip, I'm beginning to feel a bit tired. The campsite that we're at managed to find a flat area, or flat-ish, right next to a tent with some Scots lads in it, who were talking very loudly for at least an hour after I went to bed, and I went to bed at 11. So that didn't go down very well. However, life's too short to worry about things like that. So anyway, not possibly the most informative of vlogs, and it's going to be a bit like that this week, as I have managed to forget my vlogging cameras. I could have sworn I put them in my bag, and I've opened my bag this morning and they're not there. So I suspect they're on the living room table, waiting to go. All the battery charge. I've got plenty of batteries with me. Never mind. Such is life. Well, no trip to Llanberis, would be complete without doing the tree. Now, I did promise myself that I wouldn't do the tree, because everybody does the tree. But we were umming and ahhing about where to go for sunset, and we had a quick whiz over to Lynne and then came back, and I am so glad we did. The light is just amazing. Now, this is obviously the pre-sunset light, and that is just phenomenal. About 5 minutes ago, this little bunch of trees here was also lit up. There's very little movement in the sky. Very little movement in the clouds. I did a long exposure. It was 343 seconds with the 10 stop and the polarizer and 0.6 ND grad that I'd pulled down to here, because this is so much brighter. This is all shade here, and it worked a treat. There's movement in the water, and I'm not keen on movement in the water, so the 10 stop got rid of that. But I'm so glad we came down here. We've got the tree just here, and we have the V, the hills lighting up either side. We have the V of the mountain down here, and you may just be able to see in the distance, there's a better view of the tree just here. This little blob here is a castle, the name of which I can't remember, but I'll pop it up on the screen. So it's essentially a very, very simple composition. We're all vying for spaces down here, which is quite amusing. But the composition is basically what you can see there. And we have stones here, leading into a V shape, which brings you up to the tree and then down into the distance. It would have been really nice to have had the water level up here. There we go. Hello. In an ideal world, having water around the tree and up here would have been fabulous. But it's not the end of the world. The light that we got was just phenomenal. And I'm really glad we decided to come down here. The plan is set for tomorrow morning. Sunrise is looking, I don't want to say it's tempting fate. It is looking as close to perfect as is humanly possible to wish for. We've got 2 locations in mind. The first location is a ridiculously popular one. We've half an idea that we're going to turn up and find 6 other photographers there, in which case we're not going to shoot it. We're going to head on up to the lake, or to the Lynne, should I say, which is surrounded by a horseshoe shape of mountains. And there's stones in the water and reeds, so it should be quite a good morning. And then we might be going to see a waterfall, but who knows, all sorts of things could happen between now and then. So anyway, I'm going to sign off for now, and I'll see you at sunrise. Bye!